Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to this single take, hopefully, reaction video to the news that the next box set in the Doctor Who The Collection Blu-ray box set range, release limited edition release, will be Season 17, which is the sixth and penultimate season for the fourth Doctor, as played by Tom Baker. It is also the only full season and the first of the two seasons she appeared in for Lana Ward as Romana too, as she also appeared in 5 out of 7 stories in Season 18, and the only season to feature David Beardley as the voice of K9, with John Leeson having stepped down for this season, but then deciding to return for Season 18. And it's also the season that features David Goodison as the voice of Davros, as Davros in the first story, Destiny of the Daleks. It's the final season to be produced by Graham Williams. He produced seasons 15 and 16 as well, and the only season to be script edited by Douglas Adams, bar the final couple minutes of Armageddon Factor from season 16. And it's the last season to air in the 1970s, and technically the first to air in the 1980s, if you count the first 2 weeks of 1980 having Haunted Nine in parts 3 and 4 broadcast, and Sharda would have broadcast in 1980 had it not been cancelled. So season 17, this box set has been rumoured for quite a good couple of years. It was rumoured back alongside season 10 in December 2018. Alex Patterson, aka The Doctor Who Guide, go and check him out. He's a great guy and does great videos and helps you expand your knowledge, collection, and connection with other Doctor Who fans, especially the middle one. So make sure you go and check him out. He did a video about rumours about seasons 10 and 17 potentially being future box sets around December 2018. And whilst that did come to fruition with season 10 later in 2019, it's been a long time coming for season 17. Rumours about season 17 also started to pick up a bit more about a month ago. This news dropped on Thursday, the 7th of October 2021. These rumours have been circling, rumours about season 17 being the 10th collection box set. Beforehand, the one after season 24, which had already been out for about 3 months 2 and a bit months by then. Around early September 6th, 7th, 8th, a Switzerland DVD and Blu-ray website listed this release alongside the Galaxy 4 Steelbook, which has since later been confirmed. And I did a video about that, as well as also the rumour about that in May, the rumour about that coming back in May. So it listed Doctor Who Season 17 for around December time on its site, and that got rumours speculating. Shout out to Doctor Who Home for his video, which is what I watched, to where I learnt about this rumour that Doctor Who Season 17 would be the next box set. And now, about a month later, we've got the official confirmation. And about a week or two after Galaxy 4's, yeah, must be about 2, maybe even 3 weeks. I have to check that. But a couple weeks after Galaxy 4 getting confirmed, season 17 is set to be released on the 13th of December 2021 in the United Kingdom. However, almost all of the collection box sets have had some sort of delay to their releases. Some are only like 1 or 2 weeks, like the latest 2 box sets, seasons 24 and 8, were like a week and 2 weeks respectively delayed. And then we've had some where been like a month delayed. I think season 26 was supposed to be December 2019, and then it was delayed to the end of January 2020. And that was not due to COVID. That's COVID didn't affect anything until after season 14. Well, maybe season 14's actual release might have been partly delayed by COVID, but season 26 was not delayed by COVID. It would be the ones afterwards. Arguably, maybe not including 14, but I'm not sure. Even season 12's re-release, second edition, was slightly delayed or something, and they've had a few issues with season 12's release as well. Both original and second editions have had a couple of complications. So this is probably why some of them have been delayed a few times, because they've had to double check or something, get it sorted. Maybe supply doesn't get there on time for the 21st, so they have to delay it a week or two. I'm not sure. I'm hoping this one doesn't get delayed more than 2 weeks, because it's gonna be the big thing to get for Christmas. It's gonna be the big Doctor Who thing fans and consumers are going to buy either for themselves or for somebody else for Christmas. Certainly, I want it for as a Christmas present alongside the Galaxy 4 Steelbook. Although, if I had to choose between just one, it would be this one because they sell out a lot fucking faster. Whilst Galaxy 4 Steelbook is still regularly available for a good couple of months, maybe even years after it's released. This box set is going to be will probably be a bit more of a struggle to get. That being said, season 24, I did see it in a shop in London the other week when I went to see No Time to Die. So maybe some of them aren't going to be aren't going to sell out as quickly, depending on the season. Plus the fact that we got the standard editions coming up. I say coming up for season 26 onwards for release wise. 23's I heard had a bit of a difficulty with it getting itself released this week. Not sure what was going on there, but yeah, season 23 standard release if it's depending what's going on with that, should be out by now or is going to be out soon, by the way, if you want to collect that. And then you've also got 12, 19, 18 and 10s as well, so we're waiting on 26, 14, 8 and 24s, and now upcoming 17 for the standard releases. But I don't, unless they do it quickly, I don't think the standard releases are going to be released alongside the limited editions. I think they're going to be a bit of a gap between them. So hopefully season 17 is going to be released in December. If it is, yes, released in December. 13th December is the projected date. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed more than a week, which is the 20th, and 2 weeks if it's the 27th. Heck, even being delayed by 1 week is going to screw up people's plans and delivery, and it probably wouldn't even deliver on Christmas. I don't think they deliver on Christmas Eve. I don't know. It would be a very, very bloody tight. And the same for the 27th, before New Year's Day. It would still be pretty damn tight. So the 13th of December, it really has to be the actual release date, guys. Or at the very latest, the 20th, because it's going to be incredibly bloody tight. And they don't want a repeat of what happened in 2019, where season 26 was delayed to January, late January even. Not only missing Christmas period, but almost February, actually. It was almost bloody February. So I don't know what the heck went wrong there. Maybe that's why it's been 5 months, it'll be nearly 6 months between the releases of seasons 24 and 20 and 17 box sets. Maybe it's a almost 6 month gap so that they can actually release the box set on bloody time this time. They've got 6 months to sort it out. Then again, season 24 was announced about 5 months in advance. They had 5 months to sort that out, and they still needed an extra week. So what can you do? It's up to the people sorting these box sets out to make sure they're going to get out on time. And they usually seem to be delayed by some point. Some of them not so much, but definitely most of them have been delayed at some point. Just so long as it's not another season 26 situation where it's delayed to almost February. Right. As for the trailer itself, really cool trailer, some great animation, and David Goodison slips back into the role of Davros really well. If Big Finish are somehow unable to get Terry Malloy or Julian Bleachin for a Davros audio, get David Goodison. He sounds a lot like Davros in this trailer. He's still got it after 40 plus years. He's still got it as Davros. So yeah, definitely bring him back to voice Davros at some point if you can't get Terry Malloy. Also, try and get Julian Bleach, because he's awesome as Davros as well. I would also say Michael Wisher, but I believe he's dead by now. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to double check that. If he's still alive, yes, also get Michael Wisher. I guess Terry Malloy is the one they can always turn to if they need Davros or for Doctor Who audios. But it'd be nice to have other Davros actors in as well, like what we got with the Master. But then again, Malloy fills the role in perfectly, so maybe for new series stories they'll get Bleachin, but it'd be cool to have David Goodison have a couple. But yeah, the trailer, really cool animation, some great CGI, and Goodison's voiceover is just perfect. I do consider him the weakest of the live action Davros actors, but he still does his best despite what's going against him, the mask and the limited movement he has. and the chain has to actually roll along at some points. The production budget for season 17, it was an all-time low for the show at that point. Even some of the later seasons, a decade later, still at least, whilst they had limited production budgets, they at least tried to make it look like it was a little bit higher than what they actually had. Season 17, especially Destiny of the Daleks, the production values and how low they are by this point really bloody show. City of Death and Sharda being the ones that are more location based or notable for having a lot of location stuff going on, are the ones that least look the least worst compared to the more studio bound stories. But certainly Destiny of the Daleks really feels like it's really, really low budget. It's incredibly low, and I don't know what went wrong with the finances, but certainly they had an extremely low budget for Destiny of the Daleks, and it shows. In fact, it's probably arguably one of the ones that's the most infamous low budget episodes. Just moving something around. Low budget episodes that shows it basically, and that's more so than just a classic show in general, more or less, which has been more lower budget for quite a lot of its run. But this episode in particular looks pretty. It's especially low budget. Especially appears to be low budget, and because of that, David Goodson had a bit of a couple of restrictions with his performance as Davros, and it shows. So, but he does a good job with what he's given, and he's definitely trying. He's working working his ass off, as Mr. TARDIS said in his 2010 Destiny of the Daleks review, which is what I was trying to say. And so he sounds really great in this trailer. So glad they got him back to do this a voiceover. He's really great as Davros in vocals. So yeah, hopefully he does get a chance to flex those vocal Davros muscles a bit more in the future. Special features included on this box set are pretty much the same. You got the In Conversation. I can't remember who it was with this time. It's not Lana Ward. It might be, but it might be someone on the production set actually. And I have to check that. And that's if they've got one. I think they do have this one on this one. I have to check who it is with. There's a documentary about Douglas Adams. That's a new thing for this box set. There's the Behind the Sofa with many Doctor Who actors and members of the crew. Is it members crew? Might just be actors, and there's definitely some people, some Doctor Who people on the Behind the Sofa. There's new documentaries for City of Death, and I believe The Creature from the Pit. Nightmare of Eden is the story that's getting the new special effects to it for this box set's release, alongside the DVD ones for Destiny of the Daleks. All the special features from the previous DVD releases for these stories. And the biggest thing about this box set is it will indeed include Sharda. There was that worry that it might not include Sharda. It might just be the main 5 stories of the season, the ones that actually got bloody broadcast. And you'd have to rely on the 2017 release for Sharda, and maybe the Steelbook would fill in the gap for the collection box sets. But no, Sharda is indeed getting included, and it's got a couple of versions on this box set. Firstly, it's got the 2017 version, movie-long one that we got from the DVD, Blu-ray, and Steelbook in 2017. But it's also having a version of that with updated animation and split into 6 episodes, making this the definitive version of the story, as it would probably get broadcast nowadays, although BBC America did broadcast the movie-long version. But yeah, here we go. We got the final version of Sharda coming up. It's the 2017 version, but updated animation, and then split into the 6 episodes. And I know quite a few people did want the 6-part version. Do prefer 6-part version to the movie version. Whilst the movie version does help flow the story along, it is also pretty cool to know that there will be a 6-part version of that as well in the upcoming box set. I was going to say the upcoming years. The upcoming box set, it will also include the 1992 VHS linking material version with Tom Baker doing his linking narration, and scenes where he links the two, discusses what's going on in the scenes to link the filmed footage. No word on the 2003 Paul McGann version, though. My theory is that they might be saving that for a potential 8th Doctor box set or Wilderness Years box set later down the line, perhaps. Possibly, or it will be a surprise inclusion on the box set. My initial, before I heard about this box set, before this box set was confirmed, my initial theory for Sharda's inclusion on a season 17 box set was disc 1 would be the 2017 version, the movie version, and with all of the extras from disc 1, maybe some from disc 2 of the 2017 release, which also includes all the ones from the 2013 release, plus maybe one or two extra ones for the new ones. Disc 2 of the box of disc Sharda would have a second disc. Disc 2 would have both the 1992 linking material versions and the 2003 Paul McGann version, maybe also the audio-only version of the webcast, plus maybe the rest of the Disc 2 extras from the original release, and more new extras. So, as I basically put it, thought Sheldon might get 2 discs, 6 and 7. First disc would be 2017 version, couple new extras, most extras from disc 1 of the original release, and maybe some from 2. Second disc, 1992 and 2003 versions, rest of the disc 2 extras, maybe some disc 1 ones they might get dotted around, and maybe some new extras. Possibly also more than 30 years in the TARDIS. Again, that one might be saved for a Wilderness Years box set. The possibility of more than 30 years in the TARDIS and its DVDs extras also perhaps being included on there, or on the on a bonus disc. What we are definitely getting is the 2017 and version of Sharda in both movie format and 6-part format, and the 1992 version, which is in 6-part format. But no word on the webcast, no word on the more than 30 years in the TARDIS documentary, which also wasn't on the 2017 version. And I think that the Legacy Collection box set's going to be a bit more harder to find and a bit more pricier because of the newer Sharda release. So that DVD is going to be a bit trickier to get. So good luck with that. Trying to find that particular DVD. It's a good documentary. It's a really good documentary. I do hope it does get included on a future box set at some point. Also, this box set is only going to be 7 discs, not 8, as I anticipated. And disc 7 is going to be a share between Sharda and one of the versions of Sharda, or 2 of the versions on disc 1, a couple of its own dedicated extras. Disc 2, sorry, not disc 1, disc 6, and then disc 7 will have the other version, and some other extras, and then also bonus extras dedicated to that particular season. A bit like season 24 being disc 8 having Dragon. Actually, no, that one was dedicated to Dragonfire disc 2 stuff. Maybe a few other things dedicated to the season box set. And season 18 final disc had K9 and Company, and a couple of stuff dedicated to a couple of extras for that one, plus a couple of extras for the box set overall. So you'll probably get something similar for that on disc 7 of Sharda. This is also the second box set to be given 7 discs instead of 6 or 8, following season 26 also having 7 discs. Funnily enough, they're both seasons that end their respective decades, 70s and 80s. Don't expect, if there is a season 6 box set, don't expect that to be 7 discs. For starters, that's how many stories there are in the season, and you need the bonus disc. And secondly, War Games is 10 parts, Invasion is 8 parts. And they're probably going to do black and white and colour versions of Space Pirates, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did 2 discs for that. We'll see how season 6 goes. The artwork looks really cool on the box set. I haven't had a proper look at it, but it definitely, from what I have seen, it looks pretty cool on the box set. It looks pretty great. And final thing to mention is my opinion of the season as a whole and its stories. Okay, here we go. In my opinion, season 17 for me is the weakest season of Doctor Who. Full stop. Classic and new series. It's the weakest, in my opinion. The reason being, most seasons or series have more episodes. I would classify in my scores above 5. I think there is more stories in others are 5 or higher in my ranking. There's a lot more. So, for example, let's take season 7, the John Pertwee first series. I gave 2 of his stories a 10, 1 of a 9, and 1 an 8. So there's all 4 of those are above 5. Season or 5, 6, I should say, above 5 or 6, and so there's more stories above 5 or 6 than there are below 5, 6. Around the middle. Season 17, there is around is 4 of the 6 stories from season 17, 5 if you don't include Charter. 4 out of 5 stories are 4 to 6 out of 10. They're on the mediocre zone in my scores. Whilst other season it's 4 stories, 4 out of 5, 6. Whilst other seasons there are more stories higher scored, 6 or higher, than there are 6 or 5 or lower. So yeah, that's why I believe season 17 is the weakest season in terms of scores and episode scores, story scores, because every other season, in my opinion, has more stories. I would give 6 or higher than 5 or lower. And this season, I am, like I said, 4. I think I would give 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 1 of 5, and 1 of 6. And then because of that, it's those 4 are quite mediocre stories, edging on bad in the case of the 4s. Well, and yeah, there are stories in other seasons which would be 4 or lower, but I think there is more 6 or higher for those stories that counterbalance that. Even season 24, which would be my next least favourite season, that's got 4 stories, but I only give 1 of them lower than 4, and that's Time the Rani, which is fucking shit. Dragonfire, I gave a 5, and even then, I kind of am warming to it a little bit more. Apart from those scenes with the little girl and the dragon, I still think those are fucking pointless. But Paradise Towers, I like that. It's a good one. I passed that at 7. And Delta and the Bannerman, it's not a guilty pleasure. I'm an unshamed Delta and the Bannerman fan. It's not. I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10, but I certainly give it a 9. It's a brilliant story. I don't get the hate for it, and I find it extremely underrated. Probably the most underrated story of the entire fucking show. Although the Rings of Akaten, which is indeed a 10 out of 10, is probably the second most underrated story of the show. Give some Akaten love to Akaten. And don't forget to give some Delta love to Delta. Yeah, those 2 stories I find are the most underrated of the show. There's a couple of underrated ones out there as well, but those 2 in particular get a lot of fucking hate for. I don't get why. I could understand some bits of Delta, but Rings of Akaten, I really don't get the hate for Rings of Akaten. I mean, I can see some points for Delta why some people wouldn't like that. I don't get the hate, but I wouldn't say I'm ignorant to why some people wouldn't like it. But Rings of Akaten, oh my god, that hate is really undeserved. I don't know what went wrong there. There's not what's going on there. But we're not talking about Series 7, we're talking about Season 24 and 17. But yeah, 24, I believe, at least half the season is above 6 out of 10 hectares. And the one I give in the mediocre zone still have a slight warm. I do kind of warm to it later on when I think about it. It's only really one story that really lets it down completely. Well, not completely. It's really one story that's below that area. But season 17, I'm getting a bit worn out by now. Season 17, it's most of the stories of this season I've just put in the mediocre zone. So even though you've got scenes where there's more stories that are bad, or it's got stories that are worse, there's always more stories that are really good. Let's actually go back to Series 7 for a moment, actually. Let's use that as an example. There's a good couple of episodes towards the end of that in that season, which I would put in the 4 or lower zone of the scores, maybe some around the 5, 6 area. but there is plenty of stories in that series. I would give 7 to 10 out of 10s. That series is a very mixed bag, but out of its 15 stories, 17 including the 2013 specials, there is more good than bad or mediocre. I would say about, not including the 2013 specials, there's about 2/3 that are mediocre or good. Throw in the 2013 specials, I would say about 2/3 to half, about half are good. So, or at the very least, okay, decent, high mediocre, I suppose. Whilst, but there is still about a third, which is about bad, low mediocre, mid mediocre. So yeah, that's an example. But yeah, see, because of there's more good stories in that series. That one that encapsulates, overshadows the weaker ones. Season 17 doesn't have that luxury in terms of quantity, quantity of episodes, in my opinion, because four of them are so in the mediocre territory. Quantity wise, it means that it's got the weakest quality stories in terms of a overall number, if you know what I mean. I know people are going to disagree about this. I know people will be screaming season 24, series 9, series 12, or uh, something else. I don't know. By the way, series 12 is mainly for the anti-Whittaker group. Um, but yeah, there'll be people screaming out other seasons. Although 17 isn't that popular, though, apart from when a collection box set is announced, and then everybody's hyped for it, just like what we did with season 24. But yeah, with 17, it's my least favorite in terms of the quantity of good episodes. We've got 4 mediocre ones, 2 of which kind of leaning on the bad side. To be honest, one of them I probably wouldn't have given back. I wouldn't say is leaning on the bad side if it wasn't for the fact that their main, and it's the reason why that story is my least favorite of the season. It's the way their main villains are treated. See my review of Destiny of the Daleks for more details. I think Haunted Island would have been my least favorite of the season if it wasn't for the fact that Daleks were treated like, well, pretty poorly in that story. So, yeah. Okay, but the one saving grace from all of this is City of Death. City of Death is one of the greatest stories of the entire show. It is fucking awesome. It is amazing. It single-handedly saves season 17 from being a complete and utter disaster. Not including Sharda, but if you do include Sharda, that does come to help and keeping the season up a bit. But because the other 4 seasons, in my opinion, are kind of in that middle zone for quality, the quantity of those stories over the ones that are the quantity of stories in that zone over the quantity of zones in a higher zone overweighs it, which means season 17 is the weakest in seasons with the quantity of good episodes. Season 24 would be second weakest in my opinion, but season 17 beats it by actually having 4 mediocre stories out of 5/6, depending on whether you can count Sharda or not. And it's only really, really with Sharda that it actually is able to help City of Death hold the season up from being a complete utter disaster. Imagine if either of those stories had been meh. If those seasons had been meh, this would definitely be not only would this be the weakest season, but it'd just be bland. It would be boring. Not boring because they're not boring stories mostly, but mediocre. Maybe heading on bad in some places. I guess we have more to be thankful for with City of Death and Sharda than we already do. City of Death and Sharda. I would say this is due to Douglas Adams, but he was also the reason why Destiny of the Daleks isn't so good, at least in terms of the Daleks themselves. So, yeah. And also, he was script editor this season. And the other stories also seem to not be that great. Granted, some of them also suffer from the production difficulties. See Nightmare of Eden, how infamous that production was. But in terms of the scripts, it's a bit up and down. But yeah, that's why season 17 is my least favorite season, because there's 4 stories in that season I consider mediocre, and only 2 I think are good or better. Even if there's more seasons with more bad episodes, or not more bad episodes, but with, well, more bad episodes than this series, but not more bad episodes than good episodes. If there's Even though there's other seasons with bad episodes, the good episodes on those seasons, there's more of those than there is of the bad episodes. This isn't the case here. This is the only time that's actually happened. On the plus side, at least it doesn't get any worse than 4 out of 10 this season. So that's a plus for that. But yeah, season 17 is my least favourite season of Doctor Who, full stop. Spoiler for the upcoming season 1 to 39 ranking that I want to do next year. And yes, 39, that includes the upcoming series 13 once it's broadcast, and maybe the first special as well, not including the other 2 specials, but I might update the list after series 14 comes out to include updated opinions on series 13, the specials that would have followed, and the 14th series. Maybe in time for the 60th anniversary. Yeah, maybe we'll see. But for out of the first 38 seasons, at least, this is my least favourite. Then followed by season 24. I won't spoil which one my favourite is, but 2 of my top 3 are David Tennant ones, and another of the top 3 is a Tom Baker. So there you go. You can try and work out which 2 David Tennant and which Tom Baker seasons are my personal favourites. And I believe, yeah, I think, yeah, a John Pertwee one would top 5 would also include a John Pertwee and a Christopher Eccleston. You can probably work out which Christopher Eccleston one that is. It's probably the easiest one to work out. But that's at the moment. We'll see how it goes. I really want Series 13 to make that top 10. Realistically, I'm maybe predicting a top 15, 20. If it's going to be anything like the previous 2, it'll be mid-20s. And hopefully it will not go anywhere near the 30s. Apart from maybe late 20s. But hopefully not go into the 30s. Yeah, I was going to say all 40s, but that'll be the series after. But yeah, 17 at the moment is 38 out of 38 on the rankings of the seasons. But at least we've got City of Death, which is awesome. It's one of the best stories of all time. I think I would put it top 4 stories of all time. And Sharda is also amazing, especially the new version, the 2017 version. I thought that was the definitive version of Sharda. We're going to be getting even more definitive version of the story, or at least according to Tom Baker, who did the narration of the trailer. Sharda, the definitive version. Yes, it looks like we've got an even more definitive version than Sharda coming up, and I thought we already had that. So, yeah, awesome. It's probably going to be the final release of Sharda, bar going back in time and actually finish filming the actual thing, getting through the strikes or renegotiating filming and then getting actually finished filming. In that case, all the other versions won't exist because you're changing time. But apart from going back in time and making sure it actually does get filmed one way or another, this is how this is how it's going to be done. This is how it's going to be completed, and with the 6-part version and updated animation, that's it. This should be the final version, and the definitive version, or the definitive version, we got it. It's here. We got it, folks. We got it. Took us 41, 42 years, but we got it. Actually, it'll be nearly 2022 when it comes out, and it should have broadcast in 1980. Yeah, only took us about 42 years, but we got it. Ah, that was needed. Right, so that's it from my thoughts on season 17 box set. Excited for the box set, even though the season is my personal least favourite of the season of the show. But then again, I was also excited for season 24, and that was my second least favourite. But who knows? Maybe there's a couple of season 17 fans out there, and they enjoy some of the stories. I watched a video by Lewis Frisbee before doing this video. He loves Destiny of the Daleks. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Lewis, because in my opinion, the Daleks are treated pretty poorly in that story. But yeah, this season will have its fans. It will particular stories will have its fans, like City of Death being, as I mentioned, being an amazing story. It is a highly popular story. It usually cracks top 10 of fans lists. I think the 2014 Doctor Who magazine poll had it in the top 10, top 15. My friend Matt Moyer of the Universals adores it. It's his favourite Doctor Who story, or at least one of them. No, actually, I think it just recently lost out to Curse of Fenric from season 26. Okay, it's one of him. It's one of his favourite stories of the show. And it's just an all-time great story. So yeah, it's the City of Death. There's some love for that story, but I know some people might like some of the other stories. Haunted of Nymon, certainly in more recent years within the fandom, has become a so bad it's good story. It's so bad it's good. We imitate Soul Deed and the how many Nymons have you seen today? 3. I've seen 3. Has lines have become a meme and iconic. They've become it's so good. It's so good. It's bad. Or at least that's what the reputation of the fan base is. I think it's a weak story. I think it's a pretty bad one, in all honesty. But those moments in there are ones that are really enjoyable. There's some good campy moments in there that are fun. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes Campy Who can be fun. We don't always have to have a go at it for being campy. It's got a bit of a charm sometimes, or at the very least, enjoyable. Same could be said for other campy moments in the 70s and 80s. Okay, so that's about it for this video. Comment down below your opinions on season 17. Is this your least favourite season of Classic Who or Doctor Who in general? Do you think season 24 is worse? Do you think series 9 is worse? Do you think one of the others is worse? Or any of the others are worse? Do you prefer anything from the 1980s over this? Or do you think this is better than anything from the 1980s? Or anything from the 1980s pre-Sylvester McCoy? Scratch that, pre-Remembrance of the Daleks. Comment down below. Please be civil, please be nice, and also, what do you think of season 17 being the next collection box set, and are you excited for it? And also, what do you think will be the 11th box set, which will likely come out next year? I think the collection team are hoping to get maybe 3 a year. Hopefully they can space it out a bit more, maybe one every 4 months as opposed to a 3-month and then a 6-month. Maybe if they could spread it out every 4 months, we might be getting a more consistent release rate next year. And what do you think will be the 11th? So what do you think will be the 11th box set? Season 20, the 5th Doctor's second series, has been on the cards for a good while, as they were supposedly filming some extras in Amsterdam last year before fucking COVID happened. So will season 20 be the next box set? What do you think the next 4th Doctor box set will be? Because I think they are going to, so providing this one actually does come out in 2021, I think they will stick to the fact that they are releasing a 4th Doctor box set every year. It might end up being the number 13 one. Number 13, if they're just doing three next year, maybe they'll make it number 13, and 11 and 12 will be with, let's say, 5 and 6, for example. 6 hasn't had a box set for ages yet. Season 22 is the only one they can do, besides maybe doing season 21 for both of them, and then maybe do a John Pertwee one as well. That's might actually what happened. They could do season 21 and covers 5 and 6, and then a John Pertwee. I'm not sure which John Pertwee they might do. 9 and 7 would need a bit more work to do, but so did 8, and that one's out. Maybe it's probably going to be season 11 to help fill in some gaps like 17 is doing. I think there is definitely a good couple seasons that are going to be needing to fill in some gaps. The gaps that need to be filled are 9 between 8 and 10, 11 between 10 and 12, and 13 between 12 and 14, and 25 between 24 and 26 in the terms of single season gaps. And then the other gaps are 15, 16, 17 between 14 and 18, with the latter being confirmed, so just 15 and 16 afterwards. And then 20, 21, 22 between 19 and 23, and 1 to 7. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what gaps get filled later down the line. And then 2023, hopefully they might even release 4 box sets that year just for the anniversary. Maybe we'll even get a 60 season by then. I think 2023 would be the earliest we'll get a 60 season, especially if they can get Abominable Snowmen and Wheel in Space animated in 2022. Then we can get season 5. That'll be awesome. Or season 6 if they do Space Pirates, or season 1 if they can do Marco Polo, or season 2 if they do a reconstruction of the Crusades 2 missing episodes. That one won't get animated, but maybe they'll reconstruct the 2 missing episodes and they'll get season 2 out. Wouldn't it be great if they got season 1 out in November 2023? That would be amazing. That would be the best one yet, release-wise. No, we can only dream, we can only hope, we can only speculate, but yeah, one thing is for certain. The 10th box set will be season 17 after and it will be released after nearly 3 years of rumours. About bloody time, if you ask me, about bloody time. And also about bloody time for the next release being released after it'd be roughly 6 months since the previous one, season 24. Right, so that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Oh, well, no, actually, before we go, one other thing. I actually called this box set being the 10th box set. I called it, based on the rumours Alex Patterson did a video about, in my, although with the consideration that if they did want to go to Paris for some filming, it might not happen. It might delay to next year, to 2022, 23, but I actually kind of called it. I thought this one might be the 10th box set. I did a video predicting Doctor Who Classic Series box sets, and whilst I didn't expect any of them, any of the predictions to be true, this one I can and I did say, due to this, that, and this, they might get swapped around with something else. But and also I was going by a 4 years for 4 box sets a year for 2021 to 24, and then down to 2 for the 25. But yeah, I think we're going to be sticking to 3 box sets a year, and so we could be seeing these go on for a good couple of years, especially if they do get around to doing the 60s ones. But this one was the one I predicted season 17 for the 10th box set, with the possibility of swapping out with season 16 if they wanted to do some filming in Paris or something. But I put this down as the main place for the 10th box set, and I was right. I predicted this based on what I heard before, and here we go. I got it. I predicted correctly, even though I did have the reservation and say might get swapped out with this one. But no, I predicted it. I was right. Then I did predict the next one would be season 20, but like I said, I did say it could get swapped out with 21 or something, and yeah, I think I did say 21 at the time. So it could be 21. I don't know. We'll see how it all goes. I'm not expecting expecting my predictions to be accurate, as we've seen over the as we've seen so far. As this one's going to be a December release rather than September or October or August. But I predicted the release, so yay! I predicted something correctly, mostly. Right. Oh yeah, go and check that video out. Predicting collection box set future releases on the Universals video I did back in February, just before season 8 came out. Okay, now we're definitely done now. Okay, see you guys next time. Bye.